Come on in this chat room, y'all. See what you niggas talking about. Let's see who up. Who up? What up? What up, y'all? Anthony, Try Hippie, what up? What's up, Yogi Fish? See what you niggas is up to. I'm gonna do a show tomorrow morning. I'm gonna do it live tomorrow morning. I don't know what it's gonna be about yet, but I'm gonna do it for real live tomorrow morning. But I ain't doing shit now in the man cave. What you niggas doing? What's up, Detroit? You about to go to work? Are you on the East Coast or West Coast? It's 11 o'clock on the West Coast. What's up, Jay Marcus? You said you about to go to work. Shit. Shit, when I used to drive Uber, I would go out right about now. When I used to drive Uber, I drove 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. You work graveyard? You said you working on the future in New York City? What's the future? Tech shit? You working on a robot that can fly and shoot midgets or something? Are you in the Pasadena? I used to do this radio show in Pasadena. It was this dude named Larry Wynn. I would do not kind of the engineering and recording it. Did that for like a year. He did that shit from like, that radio show was from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. You say you working on your own TV network? Hell yeah. It'd be dope to get your own TV network. What up, Melanin Antonio? What y'all? Yeah, somebody said Kamala tripping, man. Kamala doing what Kamala paid to do. Kamala be an Indian that hates niggas. I just want to know where all those people who told us to vote Kamala are. All those Chucks and Pearls motherfuckers. Yeah, hey, I got my webinar up on the website on Hotepish. Got the book. My book is out. It's up for sale, $8.88. It's a reader. I say you do security. I used to do security. I also got the course that we did yesterday, the 1 day course. If you want to catch that in archive, that's up on the website. People like the book. I appreciate everybody who joined. They liked the webinar and they said it was dope. It was informative. With people trying to figure out what their next move in life is. I appreciate it, Staggers Music. Yeah, the website is hotepish.com. And if you go on the merchandise tab, where the t-shirts are, at the top I got the book. I just put that shit on the website today. My web guy gonna be mad because the shit kind of look horrible, but I just did it. The web guy probably gonna go back and look and clean over it. Yeah, it's fun. That was fun. Who's Justin Fields? I don't watch football like that no more. I don't diss anybody who do watch it. I used to watch a lot of football. I don't fuck with football no more though. Them owners can kiss my ass. And so can Roger Goodell. I did see part of the draft. Why was Roger Goodell sitting in a fucking recliner chair in the draft? I wasn't like I was on. It was on the TV where I was, so I didn't hear what was going on. I just I saw that motherfucker sitting in a recliner chair at his nigga showcase. Look at this nigga right here. First round nigga, third round nigga versus a seventh round nigga. I wish one of the players would slap Roger Goodell. You right, Melon and Antonio. They doubled down on that white supremacy. Like I said, it ain't like the NBA ain't racist. All them hoes is racist, but I don't like the level of racism the NFL displays. They're mean. They're disrespectful. And I don't like it. Simple as that. Oh shit. Someone just bought the book. I appreciate that. Someone just bought the book. I just got the email. Oh shit. Yogi Fish Studios bought the book. I appreciate that. Yeah, self-motivation guidebook. In mind with this guidebook, you may already be doing what you do. You may already be good at what you're good at. But the methods I use here in this book, I used to teach to 8-year-olds. Matter of fact, I still teach to 8-year-olds. I teach to 11-year-olds. I teach to 14-year-olds. So it's something that can help you with, if you have any children or children in your life that don't know quite what they want to do, and you don't want to tell them just to go to college. You don't want that. You don't want them motherfuckers getting all that debt, and they don't even know what they want to do. Get the book for that reason too. It'll help you explain to them how to find their inner goals and all that good shit. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you, Fish, for the purchase. And if people look it up, my main website for the is on my other website, Breakthrough. Whenever that's finally gonna be up, I got some reviews up. I got some good reviews from the webinar on Yelp, and some good reviews on Google. People thought the webinar was really informative. Oh, I like the Knicks. You know what I mean? I'm a Julius Randle fan. Once a Laker, always Lakers for me. Anytime somebody was drafted by the Lakers, I always follow the rest of their career and wish them well. Jordan Clarkson, D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Julius Randle. I like all them niggas with the Lakers. So now that Julius is balling, and I used to see Julius at the Drew League. I used to see Julius in the summertime at the Drew League, and he'd be working his ass off. He would have games where he would only play with his offhand, and you just saw him developing his game. I remember when he developed that jump shot. Julius Randle used to only be able to go to the cup, and that summer 2019, he was at the Drew League just wetting them jump shots. Now the nigga can shoot. Just only thing is with Knicks fans, the men the over 500, Knicks fans get hella crazy. Like, calm down, dog. Y'all just got a winning record. It ain't that serious. Lakers fans, we about championships. If it ain't a championship, it ain't nothing. Listen, history between the Hotep and the Moors. I don't know what a Hotep is. And macho is a play on words. I don't know of any history between the Hoteps and the Moors. Let's see here. What's the other question that y'all had? Okay, the link is all. When I finish it, it'll be in there because the link to my website always is tagged on my videos. My book is on my website, hotepish.com/apparel. It's on the apparel page where it's on the merchandise tab. And you can always go to my Instagram, the link tree in my Instagram. Should be on there. Yeah. And I have another set of live drum sample packs coming out soon. I'm gonna be back at the studio on Wednesday, laying down some more live drum tracks for you producers that want that soul feel. What else y'all talking about? He said Derrick Rose is the best player on the Knicks. If we're talking about 2010, maybe, yeah, definitely. I like Derrick Rose. I'm a big Derrick Rose fan. I remember the year he won MVP. I met him at All-Star Weekend that year. Phoenix. That nigga was hella quiet. What's up, Romello Jones checking in from Vegas? Every time I met Derrick Rose, he just was about his work. I'm glad to see D Rose figure it out. Alma Dixon said, I just got off the bike. Rode the bike about an hour ago. But before I rode the bike, I rode your mama. Bitch was a rough ride tonight, though. Let me see. How do you feel about NBA players talking on social issues? I don't like NBA players talking on social issues because anytime an NBA player talks on social issues, you can guarantee whatever he's saying is controlled and contrived by his publicists. They don't say shit. You good, Alma Dixon? But I'm always gonna hit you back, you dig? But I'm gonna tell you something. When I was always around the NBA, those players are scared, deathly afraid to say anything. So if something is said, guaranteed it's cleared by their publicist. And that publicist cleared it, it ain't gonna be anything that's gonna disrupt the system of white supremacy. It'll be a meaningless cliche at best. If you can't find the book, go to hotepish.com. Click on the merchandise tab, it's right there. Or go to my link tree in my Instagram, at DwannB. At DwannB on Instagram, DWANNB. Go to my link tree, you're going to see the book right there at the top. I never had a job in the NBA. I just coached a lot of people, and some of them made the NBA. I coached a lot of kids at AAU and high school and shit. Some made the NBA. And I'd be around for like everything. Let me see. Yeah. And I never wanted to work the NBA because the NBA is bullshit. First of all, you gotta, when you work the NBA, I appreciate you. Enjoyed the webinar, I appreciate that. Thank you for joining it. To work in the NBA as a coach, you gotta work a fuck ton of years for free. Big love to you, Dre Day. When I was talking about the NBA coaching, man, I'm telling y'all right now, if you want to coach in the NBA, you got to be a former player. But in order for you to get on the bench, you got to realize there's a bunch of coaches that you never see sitting on the bench, and them niggas basically work for free. You got to intern, and when you intern, you're working like 14, 15-hour days, and you ain't getting paid shit. One of my homeboys was an intern. He wasn't even an intern anymore. He was an official coach with the Lakers when the Lakers won the 2010-2009 championship. And he'd have to be at the gym for Kobe because Kobe's a workaholic. He'd have to be in the gym 4:35 in the morning, 3 or 4 mornings a week, so Kobe can get his workouts on. And then if Kobe had a call or another player, because he was one of the coaches, and Kobe was always studying the film, So Kobe would call him at 2, 3 in the morning randomly. So when we play against Boston, when I set the screen, do you think when I run the pick and roll with Drew, should Drew slip and an open pop out, or should we put LO at the short corner? And this is how Kobe was when he played. That's why I got so many Kobe stories. And let me tell you something. The Lakers won the championship 2009. My boy had to wait like 6 months to get his pay. And when he won that championship with the Lakers, he got a big old ring. But at the time he won that championship, he was sleeping on his brother's couch. That's why I ain't coaching in no fucking NBA. I ain't going through that. Just to get an uncertain job? Nope. NBA is politics. Don't want it. But I coached a lot of kids who got there. And oftentimes they would trust me with a lot of information. And I had some friends. I had some friends that's in the NBA, some close friends at the time. I've had close friends that made the NBA. And I'm a trustworthy person, so people would give me a lot of inside information that I never tell. I just tell you guys the outside surface shit. I don't really tell you the stories. I don't tell people's business. I would do a live with Angela Stanton. I don't know her, but hell, if I ever met her, I would. She be saying some interesting shit. I gotta look up every time I hear a noise in my garage. Somebody got shot around the corner the other day. The NBA does hire black coaches. They hire a black coach to get a shape. The minute that team's in shape, they're gonna fire that nigga and put a white boy in to replace him when it's time to win the championship. That's how the NBA get down. The NBA still blackballing Mark Jackson because he said faggot back in 2013, 14. That's why Mark Jackson got fired. Mark Jackson wasn't fucking with, he was like, I'm not fucking with all these faggots around here. YouTube, those are his words, not mine. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly. But Mark Jackson wasn't down with the program. So they fired his ass right when he got the Warriors ready. And they brought in that white boy, Steve Kerr. Mm-hmm. You know where Nash had that job? That job should be Mark Jackson job. Hell, they should have made Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue already won a championship as a Kyrie Irving's coach. He should have been the coach of the Nets. No, I don't need our young kids being encouraged to enter the weed business. No, but it's much more lucrative businesses than the weed businesses out here. Kids out here should be entering the tech business. The reason why California's been gentrified so easy is because it's tech all around here. The minute Yahoo, Google, ESPN, all them motherfuckers came to Marina Del Rey back in 2008, it was a wrap for the hood. Because white, what the story not being told is the white people who used to live in Venice, Marina Del Rey, Culver City, they getting priced out by the Asians. So the white folks is having to move west into Lamert Park and the Crenshaw district because the Asians gentrified them out their own neighborhoods with that tech money. Oh shit, 2 more people just bought the book. I appreciate that. I appreciate the book. I appreciate that. But yeah, the Asians gentrifying the white folks out. But that tech shit's where the money is, and you don't even need a college degree. You just need all the certifications. And these Google, all these companies tell you what they want you certified in when you go into the job descriptions. Kids can go on the internet right now and get that. And you ain't got to spend $1 million on a college degree when all the money's in tech. And tech's no longer requiring a college degree. Weed business is cool, and it'd be good if some of us get in it. But the tech business is always going to be around. That shit's here to stay. Because guess what? As they build more robots, that means they need more people to program the robots and counter-program the robots and fix the robots. See how that goes? You still got black folks telling their kids, go to school, get a degree. You're right, cybersecurity. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, they're going to replace the NBA players. Matter of fact, that's one of my upcoming shows. I'm gonna do a show about how black people have been taken out of in the NFL and the NBA, black Americans, and I'm gonna do a historical context because we used to control hockey. The slap shot comes from us. We used to control horse racing. The original jockeys, black. I was watching the Kentucky Derby this past Saturday. My horse won too. I bet on any horse that Bob Baffert is training. That's who I bet on. I'm gonna talk about how we was gentrified out of that. I'm gonna talk about how we was gentrified out of baseball with the Dominicans. I'm gonna talk about how we was gentrified out of being golf caddies. Caddies used to be black. All that stuff we got gentrified out of. And football and basketball is next. But me personally, I don't give a shit. I think we care too much about football and basketball. Football and basketball is nothing to hold on to. So they can have it. I told y'all about that, man. When I realized how many hours of work it took to make and stay in the NBA, I said, oh, hell no. If a kid spend 1/3 of the time learning how to code as it takes to make the NBA, they'll make more money as a coder than they would as an NBA player. Take 6 to 10 hours a day to stay in the to make the NBA and to stay in the NBA. What if a kid coded 6 to 10 hours a day? That nigga be worth $78,000 million. Nigga be worth, especially black kids. Black kids are smart as hell. You get black kids competing to become the best coder. Shit. Little Marcus is gonna be 11 years old. Nigga gonna find a way to code the microwave to go to the time you think it should go to. Now you ain't gotta touch shit. Just be like, I think 2 minutes, and that shit be like beep. That's the brains in little black kids. The niggas is that smart. Just gotta give them something to do. Little niggas is gonna be programming Jordans to tie themselves on your feet and help you fly. That's how smart little black kids are if we push them towards tech instead of basketball and football. Yeah, you gotta realize why you'll never see all black quarterbacks. They have some black quarterbacks. But football is a simulation of the game of white supremacy. The reason why the prototypical quarterback has to be a white guy, because he's the leader. And that you gotta keep him in the pocket. And he's the one that calls the shots to niggers. Look at it. They be thinking all these niggas, all these white boys is cool with them. You done heard Tom Brady's political views. His wife had to shut him up. See what the fuck Brett Favre been talking. Brett Favre been talking like a nigga on Duck Dynasty lately. Man, but let them have sports. Sports ain't shit. Before sports, black folks was inventing roller coasters and shit. Before sports, black folks was inventing light bulbs and shit. Jack Daniels whiskey. We was inventing all kind of curling irons and fucking gas masks and light bulbs and street lights and refrigerators and freezers. We was inventing all that shit before we started fucking with sports like that. Sports come in, shit. The last great inventions we had was a super soaker. So let them have sports. Fuck it. Kobe's still the greatest. Let's see what y'all talking about. It looked like Cam Newton threw that Super Bowl. That shit looked weird. He was balling all year. Then all of a sudden, Cam Newton couldn't play in the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right, Barry Smith. Numbers business. Football is their shit. It ain't ours. Neither is basketball. Let them have it. Fuck it. You know the NBA is about that bullshit when they gave Giannis 2 MVPs. And that nigga can't make a 17-foot jump shot to save his life. Nigga Giannis Akatatumbu, this motherfucker had everything around him he needed to at least get to the finals. Quality shooting, number one 3-point shooting team in the league, good defense, solid post play if need be with Lopez, and Lopez could shoot. He had everything he needed and couldn't get out the fucking second round. Let me see. You're right. It was the Black Panthers versus the White Broncos at Super Bowl. Yep. And they gave Steve Nash 2 MVPs. One of those MVPs was Shaq's. The other one was Kobe's. Shaq should have won that 2005 MVP. Kobe should have won that 2006. Because that first year Miami, Shaq was balling. I couldn't stand it either. Being the Laker fan that I am, that pissed me off. Shaq was balling like that. Because Shaq's last 2 years with the Lakers, he was out of shape and fucking horrible. Then goes to Miami and finally gets in shape. Fuck you, Shaq, forever for that. You fucked the Lakers off at least 4 or 5 more championships because Shaq didn't want to come in shape. Nigga Kobe was working 3 days in the off season. This nigga Shaq was in a club next to me. Yeah, Steve Nash. What up, Rob Trimble? You're right. Cam Newton's career. Cam Newton, before that Super Bowl, that nigga was Superman. Now he look like Super Sissy. You're right. It's Pat Riley that made Shaq get in shape. Phil Jackson didn't care. Phil Jackson was like, look, you get in shape in the offseason and come ready to play. Phil Jackson didn't do all that military style shit. But Pat Riley used to, I had a homeboy that played for the Heat, said Pat Riley would make you, he had like a body fat counter. If you got over a certain body fat, he'd sit you on the bench. You do all that shit, all that extra shit. You give Nash the first MVP, man, fuck Nash. Nash don't get any MVP. Nash played in that sorry ass D'Antoni system that inflates numbers but doesn't win a damn thing. Think about it. Chris Duhon once had 25 assists with the Knicks in that D'Antoni system. That D'Antoni system had Steve Blake putting up career numbers. The D'Antoni system had Jeremy Lin looking like he could actually play basketball. And then the minute James Harden got in that D'Antoni system, he blew Nash's numbers out the water. Nash won MVP with 19 and 12 and 11. This nigga James Harden came out in that same system. He ran point guard the first 2 years in that D'Antoni system with the Rockets. This nigga was dropping 33 and 13. And all these motherfuckers could say was, oh, he's selfish. No, nigga, he's running the same system Nash ran. And doing it way better. What colors the game, neutral and Cali? Wear whatever you want to wear. You know about the red and blue, but it's really energy. I wear whatever color I want to wear. I'm born and raised in LA, Crenshaw District, Crenshaw Rodeo, in the 80s. Slauson and Broadway in the 80s and the 90s. I've always worn whatever the fuck color I want to wear. I wasn't a gangster. Niggas knew I wasn't a gangster. You motherfuckers ain't stupid. They know who is who. If you want to be extra safe, don't wear no red. Everybody kind of wears blue. There's no one who don't wear blue. You'll never get hit up for wearing blue. Everybody wears blue. Hell, most sets of blue. But you can wear whatever you want to wear. Comes down to your energy. Any new guests coming on soon? I'm gonna do some Incense and Ashtrays music interviews coming up next week. My show, Incense and Ashtrays, a music show. You can bring some interviews in on that next week. I'm gonna interview Charlie Burrell, a few other people. Have I seen James Harden in person? Yes, since he's been in high school. I've been seeing James Harden in person since he was probably in 11th grade. I don't know him like that, but I beat that nigga's AAU tournaments. I knew his cousin in college. I don't know him like that. I've only seen him in the club and at games, but yeah, I've been seeing James Harden in person on and off of over 10 years now. I appreciate that. Yeah, check out my interview with Kaba. Kaba was dope. I had Randy Short on the other day. See what else y'all talking about. Who's better, John Stockton and Steve Nash? John Stockton. Yeah, Charlie is dope and talented. Dope ass guitarist. Look, y'all gotta stop giving Steve Nash so much credit. Y'all forget Steve Nash was drafted the same year as Kobe. Do y'all remember when Kobe won his first championship in 2000? Steve Nash was on the Phoenix Suns when the Lakers beat the Phoenix Suns in the second round. Steve Nash couldn't get off the bench. Matter of fact, the Suns brought Kevin Johnson out of retirement to back up Jason Kidd to shore up the point guard position in the playoffs because Steve Nash wasn't it. And Steve Nash was in his third or fourth year by then. Mind you, he's drafted the same year as Kobe, and he's older than Kobe. Kobe came out of high school. Kobe was the first guard in NBA history ever taken out of high school. People seem to forget that fact. The only people taken out of high school before then were big 7-foot tall motherfuckers. Kobe was the first guard ever taken out of high school. And the Suns were already a good team. Amari looked good with Stephon Marbury and with Jason Kidd. It's just a year before Nash got there, Amari tore his knee and Joe Johnson was hurt. So they had some major injuries the year before Steve Nash got there, which made their record suck. But they had Sean Marion, they had Amari. They had a good squad. Then people forget in Dallas, the 2003 Mavericks, 2000, that was the deepest team in the NBA. That was the deepest team in the NBA, those 2003 Mavericks. They had prime. They had prime. Oh, you're right. That was 97. That was the 97 playoffs he did that. They had prime Michael Finley. This was Michael Finley was a dunk contest on top of the world, perennial all-star Michael Finley. They had prime Dirk Nowitzki. They had Adrian Griffin. They had, who else? I think the team had Eduardo Nahara coming off the bench. That squad had Avery Johnson as a backup point guard, Steve Nash, Sean Bradley, Rafe LaFrance. And they didn't do shit with Steve Nash as starting point guard. That team should have won a championship in 2003 with all that talent Dallas had. If Jason Kidd was a point guard in Dallas that year, I guarantee you they'd have won a championship. With all the weapons the Mavericks had, could nobody stop them? And they had Nick Van Exel. Coming off the bench. That team was so deep, and the Mavericks didn't win shit. Then Steve Nash comes back to Phoenix. He comes back to Phoenix when they had that good-ass team that was just injured the year before and get them overinflated numbers because he's in the D'Antoni system, high screen and roll. When you're running high screen and roll, you're going to get big numbers because you decide where the ball goes. First off, if you have a good screener like Amari, like they had Stephen Hunter, he was a great screener, you're going to get open. So right off the bat, you got an open jump shot if a good screen is set. If the roll is perfect, you got an assist. And you have the option every single time down court to make these decisions between the open mid-range jumper and the dump off. If you have a jump shot like Steve Nash did, if you have vision, you're going to put up good numbers in a system like that. Versus if you're in a system like the triangle with a decentralized ball, it's the reason why nobody can ever average. Greetings, Gregory X. You got to realize it's the reason why no one can ever average more than 7 or 8 assists in the triangle. Because oftentimes in the triangle, the most important pass was the hockey assist, the pass before the assist. That's usually what set up the open basket in a system like a triangle. But there's no stat for the hockey assist. Only in hockey, not in the NBA. So whereas in the triangle, Kobe might draw the defense to a certain direction, knowing he's going to kick it, swing the ball to Derek Fisher, who's going to dump the ball down low to either Shaq or Pau Gasol. Which one was the more important pass? The pass that got the ball, that actually got the assist, or the pass that drew the defense and took the weight of the defense to one side of the court, giving either Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum, or Shaq a one-on-one matchup under the basket that led to a hoop. It was the first pass, not the second pass, but there's no stat for that. So in the triangle, same thing with Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen oftentimes wasn't the one making an entry pass to Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen was the one drawing the defense to his side of the court in the triangle. Then he swing the ball to either Kerr or Horace Grant, who would dump it down to Jordan so Jordan can operate in the post. That's basketball, not a fucking stat. People get caught up in that stat shit. The system dictates the stats. If you're in a high screen and roll offense, you will get stats. If you're running the Princeton, the triangle, the Popovich, you probably won't get stats because it requires ball movement. I always remember that when talking basketball. Yeah. I appreciate that, Phil White. So yeah, I'm gonna do No, I am going to do a program over the NBA promoting foreign players over black players. Uh, just busy as hell. Like I'm gonna do a program tomorrow. I still don't know what tomorrow's program is gonna be about. Hell, I may talk about that tomorrow. It depends on how I feel when I wake up. But on Wednesday, yeah, y'all ain't gonna see me. I'm gonna be in the studio on the drums on Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I got a 12-hour session on Wednesday on the drums. Yeah, the NBA players are giving their money to other communities because they puppets. I hear you. They're gonna try to make Luka the next face of the league. Here's the problem: NBA defense always figure white boys out by their fourth year. I mean, Ginobili looked like he was about to. Manu Ginobili in 2005, he looked like he was about to take over the league. But by 2008, the league figured him out, and they had to start bringing him off the bench as a six man after that. Because the league figured him out. The NBA, if you don't grow your game every season, the defenses every year are built to catch up to everything you did great last year. That's why all that scouting. That's why teams have 17 fucking coaches. If you have a certain skill set, if you get your shit a certain way, the league is built around stopping the first two things you're good at. So if a player don't have something new he adds to his game every season, the league's gonna catch up to him. I remember Kevin Love looked like he was gonna take over the league too, his first 3 years, dropping 50 and 20 games regularly. The league figured him out. The league always figure out the white boys, and they stay good. Luka's always going to be good. He's a good player, but he ain't doing shit monumental like they're trying to say. Yeah, I think Trae Young is just as good as Luka, but no one talk about him. But Trae Young look like he looks like a DeBarge. That's probably why. People think people think Trae Young should be singing with Bunny DeBarge and El DeBarge and shit, not playing basketball. Trae Young DeBarge. That nigga look like Chico's little brother. I don't want to put Trae Young up there with Curry now. Curry broke his own record like 5 years in a row. 3-point shooting. Has to be congratulated. Can't be overlooked. But what Steph Curry is doing 3-point shooting cannot be overlooked. And he's winning championships while doing it. Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. I don't want to say we'll ever see because it's always going to be someone. The game is always going to move, going to progress. So I don't want to say greatest we'll ever see, but I will say he's the greatest I've ever seen. Of course, Curry might be MIA in the playoffs. He's missing fucking Klay Thompson. Why? If he made the playoffs, that would be some miraculous shit with this team. Draymond Green ain't shit. People been telling y'all Draymond Green ain't shit. He just is the right player in that system when that full strength. But he ain't no player you can depend on. He ain't that kind of all-star. He ain't no Charles Barkley. Somebody said Jordan's greatest shooter. That has to be a troll post. Jordan would never claim he was the greatest shooter. That had to be a troll. That couldn't have been a. You're right, Don said Draymond Green. Draymond Green is Kendrick Perkins with good passing ability. That's all he is. One thing with the people who are the Jordan fans, they're just as annoying as LeBron fans. Because, like, Jordan was great. But you don't got to make up shit about Jordan. Jordan did a lot of great shit. Let's not make up things. And that'd be the problem with a lot of people who look at Jordan. It's like, Jordan didn't do all that. Jordan was great. Chill. Jordan was the greatest player in the 90s. I heard somebody tell me Jordan was a better ball handler than Kobe. I was like, what? And Jordan's not 6-0. Jordan won. Jordan lost. Do you forget Jordan lost to the fucking Orlando Magic in the playoffs in 1995? Those just you can't. Anyone could be a GOAT if you whittle their whole career down to their best 6 years. Yeah, great. Anybody could be great if you whittle their whole career down to these few seasons. This nigga Jordan played all through the 80s and never made it out the second round. Nigga Jordan wasn't even losing to the Celtics. He was getting swept by the Milwaukee Bucks. Jordan got tatted by Isaiah 3 years in a row. You right, Don Smith. Mitch Richmond used to get Jordan buckets. But Mitch Richmond just was... They should have kept that Golden State Warriors team together, run TMC. They shipped Mitch Richmond off to Sacramento. That was it. I don't hear no first year back bullshit. Jordan fans love moving the goalposts. Jordan dropped 55 points against the Knicks. He dropped 55 points against the Knicks the round before playing Orlando. Stop it. All that's first year back. You know what that means? He had fresh legs. That's what that means. His legs were hella fresh. That's all that means. That's all that means. You want to whittle down, career down? Let's talk about the 3 years Jordan was getting smacked around by Isaiah Thomas. Let's talk about that. How do you lose to the same team 3 years in a row? If you're there's no get the fuck out of my face. You get greatest. You lose to the same team 3 years in a row. The fuck out of here. Ain't no fucking greatest. Carmelo Anthony is also a great mid-range shooter. Carmelo Anthony is the only player in history to drop 50 points without a single layup or dunk. All mid-range jump shots. 50 ball. Jordan three-peated in the weakest. Y'all don't understand how weak the 90s were. So that's the thing. Y'all just, you three-peated. Fuck all these numbers, man. Y'all ain't got no basketball. 1989, Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic. 2 new teams. Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic, Miami Heat. Later on, Toronto Raptors, Vancouver Grizzlies. You had expansion. And when teams expanded, that diluted the talent pool. And when the talent pool got diluted, the Bulls got stronger through good drafting. Horace Grant. That was a trade. Scottie Pippen. Y'all forget how fucking great Scottie Pippen was. In the 90s, who was on anybody else's team? Who did Reggie Miller have? Nobody. Who did Patrick Ewing have? Nobody. Hell, Akeem Olajuwon won 2 championships with nobody. Who did Charles Barkley have? No. He kind of had Kevin Johnson, but Kevin Johnson stayed hurt. Charles Barkley would have been good if Kevin Johnson actually played. Somebody said Rick Smits. Rick Smits, slow-footed ass, couldn't move for shit. Oh yeah, you also had Minnesota that came into the league. You had the Timberwolves. You had all these new teams. In the 90s, this is how bad 90s basketball was. For anybody who want to ever contest how bad 90s basketball was, let me give you from 1994, from 1993, it's 94, 93 to 97, the NBA had to shorten its three-point line. Why did the NBA have to shorten the three-point line? Because nobody could fucking shoot. Reggie Miller could shoot. Mitch Richmond could shoot. You had a few like knockdown shooters, deadlift shrimp. Everybody else was so from 3-point range because it was expansion. It was a whole bunch of niggas in the NBA that shouldn't have been there. Don't give me this bullshit about 90s basketball. By the time Curry and Mark Price, by the time the 90s came around, Mark Price wasn't playing. He was always hurt. Most of Mark Price's time was in the 80s. By the time the 90s rolled around, Mark Price was always injured. He still played, but Mark Price stayed on the injured list during the 90s. See, that's why these Jordan fans got to tell the truth, man. Jordan dominated a weak era. He had Scottie Pippen. Jordan had two bona fide Hall of Famers. Later on got Rodman. Three bona fide Hall of Famers. Who did Reggie Miller have that made the Hall of Fame? I'll wait. Who did Clyde Drexler have that made the Hall of Fame? I'll wait. Who did Charles Barkley have that made the Hall of Fame? I'll wait. Who did Patrick Ewing have that made the Hall of Fame? I'll wait. Meanwhile, Jordan, this motherfucker had one of the other 50 greatest players of all time on his team. I thought Dominique Wilkins should have made it over Scottie Pippen, but Scottie Pippen made it. Who did them other guys have on their team that was that good? I'll wait. So now y'all want to put everything on Jordan. Oh, Jordan was the greatest. Yeah, Jordan was great in a weak-ass era. He was the best player of the 90s. See, people, this is how people answer my question. I said, what Hall of Famers did these guys have? And your answer is, Portland had a squad. Phoenix had a squad, yeah. It's the NBA. Everybody got a squad. Make the fucking NBA, yes, it's a good squad. If it's an NBA team, it's a good squad. Yeah, great. I said, what Hall of Famers did he have as a teammate through his prime? And by the time Drexler got with Akeem, that nigga's hairline was gone. He wasn't even the same Clyde Drexler. He was old as hell. That wasn't Clyde the Glide from 89. That was Clyde the Slide, Clyde the Sometimes. Niggas want like giving Jordan way too much credit. Jordan was a great player in the 90s. Relax. Relax. Jordan played in the 80s too, before expansion, back when other teams had concentration. He didn't do shit. And they never want to tell you why Jordan got waxed by Isaiah 3 times in a row. That nigga beat Isaiah at the end of Isaiah's run. That nigga was literally retired the next year. Jordan couldn't do shit with prime Isaiah Thomas. Let's talk about that. Why couldn't Jordan do shit against prime Isaiah? Let's talk about that. Now it's a better team. When Jordan loses, it's a better team. But when I prove Jordan had the better team against other people because he had 3 bona fide Hall of Famers to their 1, then it's, oh no, Jordan's the greatest. You see how quick Jordan fans switch them arguments? This is ammunition. Every time you're talking to a Jordan freak, listen, replay what I just said right now. Watch how they flip it. If you want to ask them why he couldn't do shit with Isaiah, all of a sudden it's a better team. But then you be like, well, Jordan had more Hall of Famers than anybody he faced. Oh, we'll talk about that later. It's so easy to knock down a Jordan fan. So easy to knock down a Jordan fan. No, I'm not going to say Klay Thompson's better than Michael Jordan. Klay Thompson's a better shooter than Michael Jordan, yeah, but he ain't better than Michael Jordan. He's a better shooter than Michael Jordan, but no. I'm not going to disrespect Jordan. I'm just going to say Jordan was the best player in the 90s. No, I don't have no. Let's be real. Jordan is not either 1 and 2. Jordan was the best player of the 90s. Jordan is great. The top 10 players are probably all on the same level. There is no separation between your top 10 and 15 NBA players. Literally no separation between your top 10 players. They're great at different things. Shaq is up there. Kareem, Kobe. They're up there. One is great. One may be better at blocking shots and getting rebounds. The other one maybe. They're all on the same level. Hell no, Tim Duncan in my top 10. Tim Duncan couldn't win 2 in a row in the era Kobe had. Well, Kobe won 3 in a row. He couldn't win 2 in a row. He could never win as a target. And he had that dope ass squad. You forget Tony Parker was a top 10 point guard. I put him up a list 2 weeks ago. Tony Parker, top 10 point guards all time, the 4-time champion. Tony Parker was way better than Steve Nash because he came in balling. Tony Parker balled for a career, not a section of his career between years 8 and 13. Tony Parker balled out from beginning till end. That nigga came in as a rookie giving my Lakers the business. And on top of that, Tim Duncan was really a center. He only played power forward when he played against Shaq. And Popovich even said this shit back in an interview way back like in 2001. Popovich was like, yeah, I put Tim Duncan in the power forward because I don't want him getting in foul trouble against Shaq. Shaq used to work Tim Duncan. Offensively and defensively. He locked that nigga down at the end of games. Go back and watch the 2001 playoffs. You don't really know basketball if you have to equate a player to when they were picked. If you have to talk about if you can't name the player, you just have to talk about where they were picked. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anthony Bennett was taken number 1. 8 years ago. Where is he now? I'll wait. Michael Olowokandi taking number one. The fuck is he doing? No matter when you was taking, no matter what you do when you got that ball in your hand and enter the court. Tony Parker, people don't even realize Tony Parker led the NBA in paint scoring during Shaq's prime. Think about that. Go look it up. 2005, 6, 4. When Shaq was still Shaq, Tony Parker led the league in paint scoring. Tony Parker led the Spurs in paint scoring with Tim Duncan. Tony Parker had Tim Duncan on his team, and he led the Spurs in paint scoring. When Tony Parker got past the free throw line, you could not stop him. And by the time he got to his 5th season, he added the three-pointer to his game. See, Tony Parker couldn't shoot them first 4 seasons. By that year 5, when they got to that 2007 finals, Tony Parker added that jump shot that season, couldn't stop him. Couldn't stop him. And this was back in the NBA when you could knock a player on their ass. Tony Parker still led the league in paint scoring. But people, when I talk about how great Tony Parker was, they're, man, you crazy. That's because you don't know basketball. No, Tony Parker was not a system player. Again, don't know basketball. When Tony Parker came into the system, into the Spurs, the team, I hated Tony Parker too, but I know how to separate not liking a player with how great they are. I fucking hated Tony Parker. I hated Tony Parker. But truth is truth. The system was designed around Tim Duncan when he came. The Spurs redesigned the system in 2007 to fit Tony Parker. You got to be a dope motherfucker for the coach for you to be on Tim Duncan's team, and the coach redesigned the system for you. You're right. Good question, Jeffrey. What the hell does the system have to do with getting the ball to the hoop? System ain't got a damn thing to do with that, because the system was get the ball to. When Tony Parker got the ball, they didn't run plays for Tony Parker. They run a screen for him, but he was the person they get a ball to when they needed a bucket, when the system broke down. When the system broke down, Tony Parker got the team a bucket. Know what the system was for Tony Parker? Run a screen his way. And oftentimes he didn't need that. He just one-on-one break his player down. He would take his player right, and as soon as he get his way shifted, he had that sorry ass, I fucking hated it, that French spin move. And once he spun, he's either at the basket or he can come out of that spin and shoot a floater over you, depending on where your center is. If the center flashes high, he's going to go under him and get the layup. If the center stays back, he's going to toss that floater in over that motherfucker. And you could not stop that shit. For 14 seasons, you couldn't stop that. You knew what was coming, couldn't do shit. I'll tell you a damn thing about Tony Parker. And I couldn't stand that. You're right, that overtop crossover spin. You know basketball by the comments that they make. You're right, it's so not easy to play in a system like that. A system predicated on throwing a ball into Tim Duncan. That's not easy for a point guard to do. Tim Duncan needs the ball mid-range. And that mid-post takes up a lot of the area of the court. You got to have real feel for basketball to have space when the team's best player has the ball in the mid post. Because you can't hang out at the 3-point line. It's going to allow your defender to double down on the mid-range player, and you can't quite. You got to be able to. You got to have a feel for that. Mm-hmm. The league ain't trash now. It's just different. When the NBA took away hand checking in 2012, Don Smith, I agree with you. I'm in the right. We in the minority with that, but I do agree with you. I'll take Rasheed Wallace over Tim Duncan. If you put Rasheed Wallace with Greg Popovich, you probably have 7 championships, not 5. This nigga Rasheed was so good. This is how great Rasheed Wallace was. Rasheed Wallace. I should do late night sports talk. Rasheed Wallace was so great in 2002, 2000, no, 2003. Don't quote me, but I think it was 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. This nigga went from shooting almost no 3-pointers to leading the league in 3-pointers made by a center, like in one season. I remember he did an interview on Sports Illustrated, and he said the low post had gotten so scoring at the low post was too easy for him. Since scoring at the low post is so easy, this nigga would. That's what made him start shooting 3-pointers, because scoring at the post is too easy. And then once he got good at shooting the 3-pointers, the nigga started shooting left-handed 3-pointers. If you go to like 2007 Pistons, this nigga Rasheed was shooting the left-hand 3-pointers. You're right. Too many texts though. He would get his head. But she used to give Tim Duncan the business. But I think if Rasheed Wallace was with Popovich, it would have been a little different. Popovich, I think if Rasheed Wallace had Popovich as his coach, that would have been a little bit different. Hell yeah, she'd had great defense. Rasheed was a better defender than Tim Duncan. Rasheed could actually step out and defend a guard much better than Tim Duncan could. Tim Duncan was more consistent, but Tim Duncan could also be. He wasn't as dynamic as Rasheed. When I say dynamic, I mean when the Lakers would really start going to work on the Spurs, Tim Duncan didn't really have. His game was so technical, he couldn't really do nothing outside the box to get his buckets. He didn't have that jazz to him. He had that. If everything was going, you weren't gonna stop Tim Duncan. If he had what he had going, the system was going, the spacing was right, you couldn't stop Tim Duncan. But if you knew how to lock that system down and really tie his low post play down, that's why Tim Duncan always had his prime. You notice he always had another center, Rasha Nesterovic, Alberto, because he needed somebody to get Shaq off his ass, to get the other big off his ass. Malik Rose. But if you knew how to zone him up right and really take away, Tim Duncan couldn't do much about that. That's why he would never repeat. That second year, he would be scouted right. That's why he never repeated. Sheed, on the other hand, you can play everything right on him, and he still found ways to get buckets. But you can get in Sheed's head. You weren't gonna get in Tim Duncan's head. You can get. That was the problem, and that's why I wouldn't even trip if somebody. if somebody said they take Rasheed over Tim Duncan, I wouldn't argue with them because you can't get in Duncan's head, but you could definitely get in Sheed's head. That was Rasheed Wallace's major problem. You're right, Sheed used to give Shaq that work. I remember the worst thing that could have happened to the Lakers was in Game 7 of the finals that year was Kendrick Perkins getting hurt. Because that made them start with Rasheed Wallace. And Rasheed Wallace got that game started off, he was going to work on Pau Gasol that first half. Go back and watch Game 7 of the Lakers, of that finals game between the Lakers and the Celtics. I was at that game, sitting on the 15th row. I remember I was at that game, and I remember the first play, they threw that shit down to Rasheed Wallace. He did a drop step, dipped in like he was going to go to the basket, but faded back for a jump shot and wetted that hole over Pau Gasol. I was like, oh, shit. Kendrick Perkins can't do that, but he can. I knew we was in for a long game. Luckily, Rasheed Wallace was old by then. In the second half, he lost steam. But if Rasheed Wallace was 5 years younger, Lakers would have had no shot. But by then, he was kind of losing. He was, I saw it. By the time the fourth quarter came, Rasheed Wallace didn't have no more legs. That's what the Lakers had going for him. Rasheed Wallace had no more legs in the fourth quarter. Because if he had legs, he'd have went to work. Most skilled player I see in person besides Kobe, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's up there, James Harden. Oh, now probably Kyrie Irving. I would say Kyrie Irving. I'd say Kyrie Irving. This nigga Kyrie Irving does some amazing things with the basketball that you've never seen before. He's done some amazing things you've never seen before. And you're right. Rasheed Wallace probably will never make the Hall of Fame because he didn't get. Rasheed Wallace kissed white people's asses, so it's a good chance he won't make the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is very political. So you don't look at awards when it comes to basketball. Basketball is very political when it comes to awards. Detroit, Rasheed Wallace should have been MVP of the finals. But Rasheed Wallace is an asshole that curses out white people. So there was no way in hell he was going to ever win that MVP. Chauncey Billups is very professional. So the professional guy won the MVP. You're right, Kyrie is. I remember when Kyrie was a rookie. When Kyrie Irving was a rookie, I was in Cleveland. I went to Cleveland. I had a homeboy that played for the Cavs, and I had another homeboy that coached for the Cavs at that time. And so I went out there to Cleveland to go to check Kyrie out. And he used to, in warm-ups, he would just get the ball and go under the basket and just spin that hole, have it at the top corner of the backboard, and that shit would drop in every time. That's how he would practice his layups. He would practice spinning the ball off different angles on the backboard and make them. And then he had these crazy dribbling drills. Kyrie Irving is a freak of nature when it comes to ball control. No, Jason Tatum makes the next big thing. Jason Tatum's going to be really good. He's going to be an all-star, but that's true, Magnetic. She'd had that. Rasheed never wanted to be the man. The nigga learned how to. He was the best when it came to low post, but he stopped shooting from the post because it was too easy. In other words, he didn't want to dominate. He didn't have it up here. And that's why I wouldn't even trip if somebody would pick Tim Duncan over Rasheed Wallace. I personally would take Rasheed Wallace, but I wouldn't argue with anybody who disagreed. Yeah, I used to say Kyrie ain't better than Dame. Kyrie has way more skill than Dame. Way more. Dame has a motor that Kyrie doesn't have. But I tell you something Kyrie do have that you can't teach, you can't coach. Kyrie has timing. Kyrie has timing. He knows when to hit the shots. And that means more than it's not how many shots you make. Because you got a team of 5, you ain't got to make every shot. But if you're a star, you do got to hit the big shots. The other team was on a 6-0 run. You went from down 2 to down 8. You need a player that's going to hit that shot to stop the run. And that's what Kyrie's going to do better than anybody else in the NBA. Hell yeah, LaMelo's the future. Hell yeah, LaMelo is the future. Dame can get hotter than Kyrie. I wouldn't call Dame a better shooter than Kyrie. Dame gets hotter than Kyrie. But Dame also gets colder than Kyrie, too. You right, really, Beeman. That Kyrie footwork is God tier. Dame gets hotter than Kyrie. But Dame also gets colder than Kyrie. And Dame stay colder for longer. Dame will give you a hot 37 points, a hot 42 the next night. And then after that nigga will have 11. And then 12 the next night. That's Dame's problem. Kyrie doesn't need to shoot from half court. Dame has to shoot from half court because his game relies on him going past you and using all that energy to get past you. Kyrie doesn't take as much energy to get past you because he can shake the shit out of you. Kyrie doesn't need to run and bump you, knock you out the way, and run fast. Kyrie can take it up real cool. Whoopty whamp. There goes your ankles. Now I'm open. Now Kyrie could either choose to take the mid-range or he can get to the basket and lay it in. I've never seen somebody Kyrie's height get blocked so few times. Dame gotta come in and dunk on you because his English isn't as good as Kyrie's. And Kyrie dunked on somebody 2 weeks ago. Y'all saw how complicated it was. He dunked on somebody. But Kyrie doesn't need to because he just can get to the cup and use English. Bucket. You're right, Westside Chicago. Kyrie is Kobe Bryant in the point guard's body. He is. But I don't even want to argue Dame or Kyrie. I like them both. I really don't like arguing against players. I more so like to talk about what they do well. Because they're just different. Most of the ranking is just your preference. If you prefer shooting, you're going to say Steph Curry is better than Kyrie. If you prefer dribbling and ankle breakers, you're going to say Kyrie's the best guard in the NBA. If you prefer power and craftiness, you're going to say James Harden. If you prefer efficiency, you're going to say Kevin Durant. If you prefer stats and flash, you're going to say LeBron James. It comes down to what you like. Better catch and shoot, Reggie Miller. And I like Rip Hamilton. Rip Hamilton was a cold mid-range catch and shoot player. But Reggie was the second best of all time catch and shoot. Who's the best catch and shoot player of all time now? To me, Steph Curry. Ray Allen's now been dropped down to third best catch and shoot player of all time. I like Steph Curry's catch and shoot. When Steph Curry curls off of a screen, his release is much faster than anybody's of all time. Clay's good too, yeah. But Steph Curry has a faster release than all of them. He gets the shot off faster than any of them. But I personally prefer that quick release. If someone else prefers Clay, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to argue with that. Clay's too great to ever argue against when it comes to shooting. Hell yeah, Zion's going to have a Sean Kipp type run if he don't pick up a jump shot. Me personally, I prefer Steph's catch and shoot. He had a play last week, where he came off of a screen. Draymond threw a great pass, sort of led him into the shot. And he just turned around before that hole even went in, knew he went in. Bucket. Damn. Fucking hated Karl Malone when he played. He's one of the greatest power forwards ever. But Karl Malone wasn't clutch. Karl Malone put up good numbers, but you couldn't depend on Karl Malone to come through in a big game. He didn't want it. You're right. I agree with you. I think Steph moves without the ball better than Clay also. He's a little quicker than Clay. Karl Malone, great mid-range jumper. Grant Hill and T-Mac had different games. They were similar games, but a little different. I don't know who they had a better career. Grant Hill was LeBron before LeBron. Grant Hill was, I'd have put him, he would have been better than Scottie Pippen, but not as good as LeBron. That's how I feel. But he was a better shooter than LeBron, which might have made him a better player than LeBron because he could shoot better. And he was just as good of a passer as LeBron. And Grant Hill wasn't afraid, unlike LeBron. T-Mac was a 6'10" point guard. If he wanted to be. They had him play shooting guard, but he could have played point guard. Listen, no one player can get into the playoffs. LeBron couldn't get to the playoffs before Anthony Davis got to the Lakers. LeBron made the Lakers one game better than they were the year before he got there. No one player does anything in the NBA. NBA is too good. NBA is a great league. The worst team in the NBA still only be losing by 3 or 4 on average, of 3 or 4 points a night. Go look at the point discrepancy. Teams with the worst records, they don't be getting blown out by 15, 30 points every night. They lose most games by about 5, 6. And that's against the best teams. Yo, Jordan couldn't get past Sidney Moncrief without Scottie Pippen. Different. I probably, if I'm building my team, I might take Penny over Derrick Rose because of the style point guard that I like. But that 2010 Derrick Rose is something we ain't never seen before. Russell Westbrook is kind of a, I don't want to say cheaper, but a lesser version of what Derrick Rose was. Derrick Rose was a more dynamic Russell Westbrook and played smarter at the same time. Grant was a much better shooter than LeBron. Stop it. Grant's mid-range jump shot was ultra dependable. LeBron's scared of his mid-range jump shot. If LeBron don't believe in his mid-range jump shot, why should I? If, yeah, Westbrook's IQ was horrific. That's why I would never want him on my team. He said, I ain't heard of Sidney Moncrief in a while. Because I'm a for real basketball fan. That's why he ain't heard that name in a while. You talking to a real fan right here. Yeah, Westbrook, bad timing. The most important thing as a guard in basketball is timing. I love Russ too, but the other team would be on the Russ would kill momentum, man. Oklahoma City back in the day when they were good, they'd be on the 6-0 run, went from up 4 to up 10. They got a chance to put the other team away. Then here come Westbrook. Running down, throw some wild, stupid ass shot off the backboard. Other team gets a rebound, easy shot. They go on a 6-0 run, 8-0 run. Now it's a 2-point game instead of a 20-point game. That's where Westbrook cross you. Bad decisions in crucial moments. And they'll be like, but he had a triple-double. Yeah, but that shot that he threw off the backboard in the first quarter stopped the momentum and threw the flow of the game off and gave the other team the momentum. And then when we fought our way back at the end of the third quarter, when he threw the ball off, when he rolled the ball off of his ankles trying to do too much, instead of passing it to an open Kevin Durant, the other team went on an 8-0 run. And so when you're always putting yourself in position to have to climb out of holes, you don't win games in the playoffs. You can get away with that in the regular season, but in the playoffs, you can't do that. And that's where Westbrook will hurt his teams. I know how old I was in the 80s. I watched basketball then too. And there's a thing called tape. You can watch past stuff. When I tell you I was in the NBA environment, I told you I coached players. Y'all know how much tape of basketball I've watched in my life? Any player I speak on, I'm not speaking on seeing highlights of them. I was there. Michael Jordan used to come on WGN and cable. I've seen every Michael Jordan game from 1988. When we got cable in 88, I saw literally every single game Michael Jordan played from 1988 on. Because when we get on from school in the 90s and in the 80s, it's 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock Chicago time. It's like Video Soul don't come on until 6. You know, I want to watch cartoons, but my big brother would be like, nah, Big Brother had the rule. I wanted to watch cartoons. My brother was like, nah, we watching the Bulls. We only had one TV with cable back in the day. All this cable on every TV, that came later. In the 80s, it was one TV with cable in the house. And my brother would be on that TV watching the Bulls. So I had to watch all that shit. I've had NBA League Pass since 2000, since it came out. NBA League Pass came out, what, 2004, 2005? I've had NBA League Pass ever since. So I've seen like 80% of LeBron James games. So when I talk shit about LeBron James, it's because I'm seeing shit that they didn't show your ass in the highlights. That's where my point of view comes from. I saw stuff in games that they didn't show you on ESPN. And you looking at me like I'm crazy, but you only saw highlights. And you only saw the Sunday afternoon game on ABC. When I saw LeBron, it was the random Wednesday night game on NBA League Pass against the Washington Wizards. What's up, Kenneth Berry? You say you always thought that Aldridge is better than Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, I think LaMarcus Aldridge is better than Katt. But I think both of them scared of big moments. They share that in common. Towns and Aldridge. They scared of the moment. But overall, I'll take Aldridge over Towns any day. Bernard King was dope. Mid-range like a motherfucker. Bernard King tear your ass up from that mid-range. Somebody said I never seen Bernard King. Why you just in here just hating, just talking about everything I ain't done? Shit, we over here talking basketball. Relax. Shit. Join the conversation. Have fun. He ain't never seen this. He ain't never seen that. You was only 7. Chill. Not that serious. I'm not here to prove to you anything. I'm not here to prove to anybody anything. I'm just talking basketball. My favorite sport. I love basketball. I ain't got no shit over here. Where basketball at? I ain't got it over here. I love basketball. When you grew up with Johnson as a 5-year-old, you have no choice but to love basketball. I'm about to get out of here. I'm be on live tomorrow sometime. D-Will, Prime D-Will. And CP3 is better than D-Will when D-Will and CP3 are drafted the same year. D-Will just forgot how to play basketball when he left Jerry Sloan. Chris Paul's one of the greatest point guards of all time. Chris Paul got the fucking Phoenix Suns at #1 right now. He had the damn Thunder in the playoffs last year. It's the reason why David Stern didn't let Chris Paul play with Kobe. There have been 2 or 3 more championships with Kobe. The dude say he loved playing basketball to the woman outplayed him. Ha! A woman ain't never outplayed me. By the time I was done. But when I played, I ain't never got outplayed by a woman. And I played with chicks that made to the WNBA. I ain't never got outplayed by a woman back when I played. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Man, it come to that. It's a play, but shit, I wasn't allowed to get. If women got me, I was getting that low post, but I can't play. Every woman on earth can beat my ass in basketball now. I would never play a woman in basketball now. I ain't about to lose. If I play any of you niggas, I'm losing. I suck in basketball now. I was out on the court a couple weeks ago with Craig. We was filming that basketball league. I was taking jump shots. Jump shot was still wet, but since that second knee surgery, I'm done on basketball. I be hitting my heavy bag now. Look at that picture of not Louis Saunders, Dizzy Gillespie. I'm about to say Satchmo. I'll be on that heavy bag now. I ain't fucking with no goddamn basketball no more. I done had 2 knee surgeries. That's it. But I'm about to get up out of here. I'll be around tomorrow. I'll holler at y'all.